Jeffrey Dahmer. Between the years of 1978 and 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer murdered 17 males in a truly horrific way. His killings consisted of rape, dismemberment, necrophilia, and cannibalism. Jeffrey Dahmer was born May 21, 1960 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. His parents were Joyce Dahmer and Lionel Dahmer. Although he wasn't physically or emotionally abused, Dahmer was neglected by his parents. His mother suffered from a lot of mental health issues which his father couldn't cope with. Instead, he left the unstable and heavily medicated Joyce alone for long stretches with her 2 children. When Dahmer was 4, he underwent surgery on his groin. Before the procedure, he was not explained on what was going to happen. He woke in great pain and with a lot of confusion. His father believes this sent him down a murderous path because he developed a massive mistrust for the world. David Dahmer is the younger brother of Jeffrey. He is more than 6 years younger, and Jeffrey even named him. Following Jeffrey's conviction, David essentially vanished. He did not attend any court hearings and said he cut all ties with his brother. He is now known to have a wife and 2 children. He lives his life in private and out of the view of public. Lionel went on to marry Sherry Dahmer. Sherry became Jeffrey's stepmom and stood by Jeffrey and Lionel's side throughout the trial. Lionel then wrote a book called A Father's Story. It was published in March 1994. It focuses on his son's horrific crimes, telling his point of view. He got a lot of hate for it, claiming he was trying to make money from these horrific events. Dahmer was known as a loner and heavily bullied for his weird behavior. He had an obsession with dissecting dead animals. Something about their internal organs and bones attracted him to continue. His father knew about these behaviors and even helped Dahmer dissect the dead animals. He believed Jeffrey was just interested in science. Lionel was the one to show Dahmer how to remove the flesh and bones of animals via chemicals. This was later used by Dahmer to soak his victims. Dahmer enrolled at Ohio State University for only 1 semester, then he dropped out. After that, his father forced him to enlist in the Army, where he served as a combat medic in Germany from 1979 to 1981. Throughout all of this, Dahmer had a huge drinking problem, and he eventually got discharged. Dahmer would lure young men back to his apartment with the promise of drinking or taking pictures for money. He would then drug them and do horrible things. He would sometimes make them his living zombies because he did not want them to leave. After this, he would eventually kill them. He would usually keep the bodies to do what he pleased with them. These are all of his victims. Dahmer was also linked to at least 3 sexual assaults, including the older brother of one of his murder victims. 2 other assaults allegedly occurred while he was serving in the Army. He was caught on July 22, 1991, when police saw a man running almost naked down the street. This was Tracy Edwards. He had escaped Dahmer's grasp and fled his apartment. Tracy took the police back to Dahmer's apartment where after further inspection they found dismembered bodies in the fridge, a tank of acid, and many Polaroid pictures of his crimes. As Dahmer was put in handcuffs, he said, "For what I did, I should be dead." Dahmer pleaded not guilty at first, and then he changed his plea to guilty but insane. The court didn't buy it, and he was sentenced to 15 consecutive life sentences. All of the evidence police needed were in Dahmer's apartment, so it wasn't very hard to nail him down. On November 20th, 1994, Dahmer was beaten to death by a fellow inmate at Wisconsin-Columbia Correctional Institution. The inmate, Christopher Scarver, claimed Dahmer had been taunting fellow inmates with his cannibalistic infiltration. He was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, schizotypal personality disorder, and a psychotic disorder. He was a power-oriented killer because all he wanted was power and control over his victims.